And as always, we're going to be looking for accurate context, good risk management, and always exercising good patience.
Anytime you're talking about fundamentals in a market and direction, fundamentals take a little bit of time to play out.
We got crude oil today, kind of trading yesterday's value area really nicely, low to high.
That's what we're here for, is to put ourselves in the best success. A trading routine does that, builds that habit, lets you know what to work on, what to reflect on, and what to improve on the next day.
We'll leave tonight.
Hello, traders and other people of YouTube. Welcome to the Coach's Playbook. I'm JD filling in for Jack today. We're here with Dan Hodgman, Coach Hogue, and Mick, the usual suspects. How's everybody doing?
Not bad.
Good.
Excellent.
Having fun. Markets are down. They're moving.
Moving and
and,
shaking for sure.
Getting anxious about my gas bill this winter.
I think that's going to be on a lot of people's minds after the last couple of days for sure. That kind of leads us into our topic today. We're going to be talking a little bit about consistency in trading. It's a broad topic, and while making consistent profits is the ultimate goal for all of us, there's also a lot more that really goes into finding consistency in your trading. Like our friend John Hoagland always says, if you want to find consistency in the markets, then you have to bring consistency to the markets. So before we go any further, let's first check in on a funded trader shout out. What do you say, Mick?
Shout out to Valerie Anand. She's up a little over 3,000 trading the NASDAQ this morning. So keep up the good work.
So I'm going to guess she's short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not at the moment, but I know she caught a piece of that move.
Not a day for picking bottoms, for sure. So we talk a lot about routines and trading plans when it comes to consistency. So today we're going to shake things up just a little bit and expand on that by also talking about a few points in the risk management area, things that we also think are important when you're first starting to trade in that new brokerage account and are looking to find consistency. So who wants to go first? We never really figured out an order. Anybody want to volunteer?
Pick them out, JD.
Go ahead. Well, you spoke up. How about you, Dan?
All right. Yeah, there's so much you can do when it comes to consistency. There's everything in your life kind of can fall into it, with how you wake up, what your routine is in the morning, to, for me, it's like, I have to have my 2 cups of coffee. I have 1 cup of coffee before the market's open. I drink another cup of coffee during. My execution is consistent. What I'm looking at, I'm trying to look at it a consistent viewpoint. And then there's also that idea of like how you're going to go about your trading from metric standpoints, right? I think a lot of times there's this idea of like 2-to-1 reward over risk. Those are things that I want to be consistent in. But you can only be consistent in if you're actually paying attention to it. So it's how you're going to look at the market there. So like when you see a great trade opportunity, well, a lot of times I hear a lot of traders that are just seeing, hey, it's a great chance for a trade. I'm going to take the trade, and then I'm going to start looking at where's my risk, where's my profit target going to be in this. I like this setup, but then I got to do the follow-on work. Well, one thing I would recommend to help kind of create some consistency, if you're trying to really focus on that reward over your risk, making sure your risk is much smaller than your reward. Ranges are going to be different in each and every day. So you can't come in and expecting that if I'm going to make 200 in a trade, I'm going to risk 100, and that's every trade. It's not always going to be the case. You have to be consistent how you're looking at this when it comes to execution. So if you start to look at the market setup, the first thing you want to do is start to recognize, all right, where is that point of invalidation in this trade? Is that too great for what I can see in my reward? And if you can do that, I've always told traders, start doing that from a trade standpoint, a daily standpoint, a weekly standpoint, a monthly standpoint. Try and look at it month over month, week over week, day over day, trade over trade, to really focus on that reward over risk. And you can start to streamline this consistency from single trades to monthly, quarterly, even annually. You can really start to focus on how to create that consistency across the board. I think a lot of times traders kind of get this idea of what they've done on one day, which is great in day trading. You really want to focus on being profitable and having those good days. And if you have your better days, you tap yourself on the back. Congratulations, get excited about it, but drop that mindset, forget about it come the next day, because your job is to consistently grow your account. And if you're doing it, making $100 a day, like Mick's always saying, he loves seeing traders that are consistently making $100 a day. If you can do that, as opposed to 5,000 up, 5,000 down, 5,000 up, 5,000 down, and you're hanging your hat on the big winning days, but forgetting about those big losers that you're having, that's really going to make things difficult.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, obviously no one's going to be profitable every single day, but if you can work yourself to a break-even scenario with a 30 to 40% winning trade percentage, I think being profitable at 50% is a great way to get started. I know Mick has some strong feelings about this also, so let's kick it over to you.
Sure. Well, Dan, I like how you brought up my $100 winning days. Consistency is the most important thing in trading. It's how, if you're a new trader or you've been trading for a little while, a consistent approach is going to allow you to learn what you're doing right and learn what you're doing incorrectly and what you need to change. If you have an inconsistent approach, you're going to have a much more difficult time pinpointing those things that are working or aren't working and what you need to change. To what Dan said about, liking the traders that have $100 winning days, I'm much more impressed with a trader that can make $100 a day, 4 days a week, than I am someone who makes 1,000, loses 1,000, makes 1,000, loses 1,000. A lot of people think about quick money when it comes to trading, but if you look out over the course of a year, who do you think is going to be better off? The person that averages $100 a day, 4 days a week, or the person who's always up 4 figures, always down 4 figures on their trading? I mean, the latter probably won't have an account at the end of the year, while someone who was just hitting singles, as we like to call it, is going to have a nice account balance come end of the year. Whether it's their primary job or a secondary source of income, it's good money. When it comes to consistency and profits, we have our scaling plan here at Top Step. I think it's great. I think it's simple and easy to understand. If my account balance has a certain amount in it, I can trade this many contracts. Scaling plan's fine. It's simple. It's easy to understand. I think the most important thing with consistency and when to increase your position sizing is seeing consistent profitability. If you are on a weekly basis making money, I don't care if it's $50 or $5,000. If you're consistently making money week over week, you can then easily justify increasing your position sizing. If I'm making money doing this with one lots and I'm always making money consistently on a weekly basis, why couldn't I do the same approach just with 2 contracts? You do that, and then you start to see your profits increase as you keep going. That's how you increase position sizing in the best way possible, in my opinion.
Yeah, those are all great points. Playing small ball is huge. Avoid over trading, and staying flexible also, I think, are also very important.
One other thing we were talking a little bit about before we went live, something I almost forgot to mention was, consistency in your P&Ls is very important as a trader, something to keep in mind. I see a lot of people in funded accounts have large losing days, say, $1,500 losing day. And I look at their trading activity, and their biggest winning days are, $300-$400. So on their good winning days, they're only making $300 or $400, and on their bad days, they're losing over $1,000. It's very backwards. I don't think, as a trader, you have no business losing more in a single day than you put up on average on a winning day. So if I'm making $500 on average on my winning days, I shouldn't be losing more than 500. And I see that being something that really hurts new traders, hurts traders just in their accounts in general. It's, if you're only making a few hundred on your winning days, and then you have this big losing day, you're wiping out multiple days of profit, multiple days of hard work, and that's not how you're going to make it in this industry. So you need to be consistent with your P&Ls too.
Yeah, story old as time right there. I think we're all guilty of doing exactly what Mick just described. I know I am, at least. And it's tough moving away from that for sure. Mr. Hoagland.
We've
our
all been
resident-
guilty of doing that. Just something you don't want to make a habit of. You know, what
Oh,
Mick was talking about with, you know, your average winning day is $500 and your average, and you're losing $2,000 on days that you're having losing days. It's exactly the same as going trade by trade. If your average winning trade is 500 and your average losing trade is 2,000, you're going to have to be right an awful lot. You know, JD, you mentioned, you know, 30 to 40%. If you can still remain profitable at that level, you're looking at a good reward over risk. Trade by trade, day by day, it's the same thing. You know, and as far as consistency is concerned, you know, I'm up at 5:30 every day. I take my shower. I sit, I have a cup of coffee. I sit down here at about 6 o'clock in the morning when I'm not planning on trading until after 8:30 or after 8 o'clock or maybe 7:20, depending on the market. Point being is, you have to do your homework. If you're just getting up and, you know, combing your hair and brushing your teeth and sitting down to trade 5 minutes later, you're not prepared for the trading day. It goes right with the, you know, bringing consistency to find consistency. How are you're going to find consistency in an ambiguous environment without having any plan or any hypothesis or any, you know, you're just going to sit down and start poking at buttons. You know, you might get lucky. You might have a $5,000 winning day just by poking it the right way, just like flipping a coin. But that doesn't impress me. I'm more like Mick, somebody that is showing consistency day over day, even with small profits, is the one that's going to impress me. Position sizing, you know, once you get to a point, you know, your position size can be directly related to the risk on the trade. But overall, if you can't maintain an account trading one contract, you don't really have any business trading any more than that. And, you know, as you build your account, you're hopefully gaining consistency with that one contract. And you do that ad nauseum until the idea of doubling your risk doesn't affect your decision-making process. That's the one thing that I see a lot with traders is they start doing well with 1 or 2 contracts, and then all of a sudden they're trading 5, and it changes the decision-making process. Those numbers are a lot bigger. It's a lot scarier. You really have to steel yourself to facing the risk before increasing the risk.
Couldn't agree more with that, John. I also think, in my own personal experience, I think some people have a problem of spreading out too far, not focusing on a single market when they're first getting started. I think that's a big problem. It contributes to over trading also. I think simply enough, just sticking to a single market when you're first getting started, spend some time getting to know that market. How does it trade? When is it volatile? What fundamental factors outside of the market affect how the way it trades? Eventually you start to discover correlations between that market and other markets, and you could slowly start to broaden your scope, and then maybe add additional contracts in other markets too, once you really figure out how that one market really works. And I think that's a common mistake new traders make too, just trading too many different markets at the same time without knowing how they affect each other.
Agreed, JD. One of the things that I just want to throw in there is, you know, once you get really good at recognizing market state and using tools in one particular market, they're all auction processes. Sometimes those skills are easily transferred into other markets.
And one thing I want to add here that I didn't touch on in the beginning, but, you know, there's not a lot of constants when it comes to trading. You know, the market's not going to do the same thing over and over again. You're not going to get the same participants every single day. When the market starts going down, it's not always going to continue down. It might reverse. You know, there's very few constants, but some of the constants you can bring into trading is what you can do. You're the only person that's going to bring in be able to bring some sort of consistency. And as traders, our goal is to continue to develop, learn, adjust, and go with the best ways of making money. And if you're not being consistent in the processes that you're going about, you're never going to learn. It's going to be, you're going to start flip-flopping back and forth. You look at P&Ls. Okay, what was I doing exactly on that day? I think this is what I was doing there. But then how come I made money on a different day? And you kind of get lost, and you just every single day you're burning your tires up, and you're not really making any forward progress. So if you can bring consistency from what you're doing, you're going to start to learn it. If you're consistently losing, hey, that's a great step. You're learning something, right? You're seeing what you're doing is wrong. Yeah, you could go with the old adage, just do the opposite of what you think you're supposed to do. I don't know about you guys. I've tried that before. And then I'm thinking to myself, crap. Am I supposed to be long? Am I supposed to be short? I think I want to go long, but then now am I switching things up, and I actually should be, you get a little confused. So if you can consistently kind of figure out what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, you're going to be able to start to string together some better days and slowly growing those accounts. That's what it's all about. I think at the end of the day, we get an idea that we want to come in here and start making money like we were at a job that we've been at for 15 years. I'm sorry, that's not realistic. But you'll get there probably quicker than 15 years if you bring some consistency. And like these guys are saying here, that scaling plan, once you can start doing it with 1 lot, so you can maybe move to 2 lots. Maybe then you're moving to 3. All of a sudden you're having a little bad time. You can scale back pretty quickly, get back to the basics, get back to that consistency, and then slowly build once again. So, bring consistency to what you're doing. And that's the only way you're going to be consistent with the outcomes.
And the review. If you're just poking at trades with no plan, how are you going to review, and how are you going to figure out what's working and what's not?
Right.
And why would you want to risk real money doing so when you don't have conviction?
Yep.
Hey, I
The
was never
cowboy-
convicted.
The cowboy traders who shoot from the hip definitely do not last long in this business, that's for sure. But that was a great way to close it out. Thank you. We're hitting time here. Hogue, you want to take us home with a few words of wisdom? Or Dan?
Well, I got my quote first.
Got a
Here's
quote.
the quote.
I kind of like this one. It's from The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. If you don't know his story, look into it. It's a pretty great story of a guy that kind of made success out of nothing. Success isn't always about greatness. It's about consistency. Constant hard work leads to success. Greatness will come.
I like it.
That is a
Well
good
said.
one.
Mhm. So consistency, have a plan, trade the plan, review the plan, perform, review, plan, perform, review. Without some consistency in what you're doing, you have nothing consistent to review to see what's working for you and what's not. Do your homework. Be good to yourself. Trade happy. Happy traders make better traders. One way to be happy is, hey, be profitable. And I wish it was that easy, but some of the thoughts and ideas in this video are going to make a difference. Be consistent in your approach, your review, and your little tweaks that you're going to be making along the way. I believe just about anybody can do this. It's just a matter of making the necessary changes, and lasting the tuition process. That's what we're here for. Trade well. We're looking forward to your success.
Well said. Before we close it out, let me just brand what Hogue said for you. Prep, trade, reflect. Coach T, look him up.